Have you ever had one of those moments? After a loud party ends, you get home and close the door. In those few seconds of absolute silence, you feel a sudden, crushing exhaustion. It's not physical fatigue, it's a deep, soulful, post-performance slump. You look at the face in the mirror and can't even tell which part is the real you, and which part is the persona you built just to make everyone else comfortable. The irony is, we live in an era that constantly screams, be yourself. But the truth is, we are more terrified of being real than ever before. We're afraid that the unpolished, clumsy, and slightly weird parts of our soul will be rejected by a world that demands perfection. I think back to being a child. A child doesn't walk out of the womb worrying about their personal brand. They don't rehearse their laugh or wonder if their crying is too much. The mask is something we inherit. It is a gift given to us by people who loved us, but were themselves afraid. We call it education or professionalism, but often it is simply the architecture of expectation. From the moment we could understand language, we were fed a script. We learned very early that love is often a transaction. If you are quiet, you are good. If you are productive, you are valuable. We hid our sensitivity because it looked like weakness.
Did you shed tears in your cell?
It's difficult for me to answer the question.
Or you cried?
There were tears that ran down my face, but I did not cry.
I mean, that's crying.
We became architects of a future that wasn't even ours, building a life that looks like a beautiful house from the outside, but one that we don't actually know how to live in.
Like so many others, I had become a slave to the IKEA nesting instinct.
We are terrified of being real because we are terrified of being a disappointment. We carry the ghosts of our parents and our peers in our pockets. And every time we think about speaking our truth, those ghosts whisper, "Is this who we raised you to be?" For those who haven't seen it, Truman Burbank lives in a world where every person he knows is an actor, and every sky he looks at is a studio ceiling. His entire life is a product, managed by a director in a control room. The tragedy of Truman isn't just that he's being watched. The tragedy is that for 30 years, he believed the performance. He played the part of the happy neighbor, the loyal employee, and the loving husband, until the day a light fell from the sky and the illusion cracked. We like to think we are different from Truman, but are we? We live in a culture of optimization. We track our steps, our sleep, and our productivity as if we are machines to be tuned rather than lives to be lived. We have become both the actor and the director of our own shows. We are terrified that if we stop performing, the audience will leave. If we don't have a grand destiny, if we aren't the main character, then what are we? In the film, when Truman finally reaches the edge of his world and finds the exit, the director speaks to him through a speaker in the sky. He tells Truman,
"There's no more truth out there than there is in the world I created for you."
That is the great lie the world tells us today. It tells us that the real world only exists in the extraordinary, that if you aren't a visionary, an icon, or a millionaire by 25, you've somehow failed the script. We stay in the studio because we are afraid of the unscripted world outside. There is a terrifying honesty in the villain's perspective. Think of Heath Ledger's Joker. He famously asks,
"Why so serious?"
He wasn't asking about humor. He was asking about the seriousness with which we uphold our social masks. He saw the civilized world as a group of people performing a play they don't even like, terrified that if they drop their lines, the whole system will collapse. The Joker was wrong about one thing. He believed that under the mask, there was only chaos. But I don't believe that. I believe that under the mask, there isn't chaos. There is vulnerability. We aren't afraid of being bad people. We are afraid of being small people. We are afraid of the parts of ourselves that aren't impressive. We hide our need for help, our fear of death, and our strange, specific hobbies because we think they make us weak. But in reality, these are the only things that make us real. The courage to be yourself is, in many ways, the courage to be unsuccessful in the eyes of a judgmental world. It is the willingness to be a bad brand, but a good human. It is the realization that your value was never something to be earned. It was something you were born with. What if you allowed yourself to be unoptimized? What if you spoke without rehearsing the words in your head first? What if you admitted to your boss, your partner, or your friend that you don't have the answer? We are so busy trying to be the main character that we've forgotten that real life happens in the background. It happens in the quiet spaces between the achievements. It happens when the mask slips and we see each other, not as rivals or icons, but as fellow travelers, equally lost and equally hopeful. Choosing to be real is an act of rebellion. It is a slow, quiet mutiny against a world that wants to turn you into a product. Turn off the camera. Step out of the studio. The real world is messy and it's waiting for you. Not the version of you we've all been watching, but the one who's been hiding behind the door. Go and be real. That's more than enough.